Okay, welcome to RedWave Radio. Yeah, today with me, Rob.
And me, Harry.
Today we're going to be talking about an interview that a woman did with The Guardian. The woman is Belinda Palmer, and she's the CEO of Lady Geek and the founder of Little Miss Geek. Her aim is to end the stereotyping and patronising of women within the technology industry. So the first quote that we're going to be talking about is... art courses are considered a waste of time for students as it leads to unemployment. With us being like art students ourselves, obviously we're going to be kind of like against this statement. So what are your first thoughts?
Well, I don't know. It's quite an interesting thing because I suppose technically it does, depending on what you go into. Because if you're just going into freelancing, you sort of are unemployed. You know, it's like it's sort of a...
I think you would be viewed as officially unemployed, but you're not unemployed because you're making money, obviously, and you're self-employed.
It's like when you say, when some people say to you, oh, I'm freelance, but I've not got anything on at the moment. It's sort of like them saying, yes, I've got a job, but I haven't got a job really.
Yeah, but I haven't got any work.
Yeah.
So apparently this is quite a popular view. Somebody named Max Foreman, who's doing a veterinary course, said in an interview with The Tab, which is a local newspaper site in Cambridge, they said, it's a real indulgence spending 3 years learning something that has no other purpose to it, talking about an art course. The purpose that she mentioned there is amusing yourself. So she's I've been saying she, it's Max, which is a man's name. But yeah, he's been saying, what is wrong with me? Right. He's been saying that basically the only reason that you would do an arts course for 3 years is just to amuse yourself because you've got nothing better to be doing.
Well, I've been doing arts for 4 years now, I think.
Yeah.
No, longer than that. 5 years now.
Yeah, well, I mean, technically we was doing art courses in school.
Yeah. Well, it depends. How is it something... This is something which... a lot of things which I want to say will be brought up later on in the debate, but I don't know. I just don't know.
You know, like, if art didn't have a purpose, which is pretty much what they're saying, then... like everywhere would just be like grey,
well, that's the point.
There would be nothing but like modernist skyscrapers everywhere.
Everything. Well, even modernist skyscrapers have had some sort of artistic thing into it. Everything has had to have an artistic viewpoint. Yeah, definitely. So they're saying that art isn't anything. You know, it's not. Yeah, and
I bet what do these people do? Like when they go home, like they sit there and watch TV or like films. And they've been crafted by people who have studied art.
Or the clothes that they're wearing. Yeah, and stuff like that. It's like, oh, I really like this. This certain laptop, you know, it's stylish.
Yeah. The clothes have been designed by designers who have studied art, and it's ridiculous.
Yeah.
But yeah, then there's also the point that like art courses, they're saying like specifically art courses are a waste of time, but art itself isn't, which is kind of like a more valid point, I think.
Yeah, I mean, art. The thing with art is you can easily learn it yourself. I mean, especially, you know, now with YouTube and everything like that. But in the end, somebody has got to learn it first. Yeah. Like, it's all right, say if we just went straight into doing, like, making films. I mean, we were pretty crap back when we first started anyway. But if, like, we did it without the training that we was given in school, well, not school, sorry, college and, well, not so much university, but more college, where we learnt all that stuff. We'd still be crap because we'd still be going off our same mistakes and we wouldn't know any of the techniques
then like
that we know.
The theory, isn't there? Like apparently Tarantino like never went to film school, and yet he's managed to craft like lots of good-looking films that like make sense.
Well, I mean, there's bound to be a few, isn't there? It's like you've got some people who some drawers who never did anything and they can just draw perfectly. Yeah. You know,
I think the thing is with nowadays, with online, you can watch like a really well-made student film. Yes. So like you need to learn how to craft films nowadays to like separate yourself from all of the crap films.
Yeah, definitely.
So yeah, you could learn to make films on your own, but I think it would be like a hell of a lot more difficult. It would take a lot longer to learn how to do it on your own than with the help of people that have done it and then could just teach you the mistakes before you even make them.
Yeah, because in the end, it's not just And you got to think it's not just what you know behind the camera. It's editing, it's sound, it's Foley goes under sound, lighting, everything.
And if we had never been to college or university or anything like that, how would we be able to do that? Because we would have never have met each other. It would have just have been like you making a film on your own,
Yeah,
and like me making films on my own.
That's another thing as well. Even if people went who already knew how to make films, which some people did come on to our courses knowing. But if they came, it's a good connections thing.
Yeah,
in
definitely.
The end, because we've now moved in together and set up RedWave. So, and if we didn't do that, this wouldn't be happening now.
Yeah, exactly. So it's not just about the education, it's about the contacts that you meet and like the inspiration that you can get from college. Like,
yes, definitely.
Yeah.
Especially when you talk by people who used to work in the industry, properly.
And another point is that if art courses didn't exist, I probably wouldn't be doing this, because I wouldn't have seen it as being a job opportunity, because I would only see things that like have a college course as a job opportunity.
Yes, I know what you mean.
Yeah, so I'd probably have ended up like being a gardener instead of a filmmaker, and which adds more to society, really. I'd say being a filmmaker adds a hell of a lot more.
But that's the thing, though, isn't it? People don't seem to realise how much media and the arts are in society. It's everywhere.
It is literally everywhere that you look. Like every single building has been designed by somebody.
And
like,
every single advert.
Yeah, every single food packaging has been designed by somebody.
And
it's
they've got
ridiculous.
and the pictures that they've got on them have been taken by people.
Yeah.
Who have thought it out.
Yeah, it's kind of silly that people can possibly say that art courses are unnecessary.
Yeah.
Like when it's so obvious that they are necessary.
Yes, indeed.
So then there's a lot of people that take media studies because they see it as being an easy qualification. So according to BBC News in a 2005 article, there was a 50% drop in French and German language studies, and a 500% increase in media studies.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
I'm going to say now that people may think it's easy, but it bloody well isn't.
But here's the interesting thing. Apparently the pass rate went up from 84.2% when they were doing French and German to 97% when they started doing media studies.
Really?
So I guess that could indicate that it was easier to pass media studies.
Yeah, maybe.
But what I would say to that is that maybe more people pass because it's more interesting.
Yeah.
And because they think that they're going to get more out of their education. Like, if you're studying French and German, what in the back of your mind, you're going to be thinking, I'm doing this for no reason. I'm not going to be able to get a job just by knowing French. Well, what can you do? You can be a
translator.
But that's it.
Or, I suppose, if you wanted to move over there, that's...
Yeah, but that's not going to get you a job instantly, is it? Just knowing French, you still got to compete with every other person that knows French.
Yeah, every French-speaking person. Yeah, but
it's kind of ridiculous.
Is that pass the course just on a pass, or is that a pass with, say,
it's just passing
distinction? Or so that makes it even more interesting, because if it's just passing altogether, they're not taking into account the people that have got the higher grades than the others, because as far as everyone could have just scraped by.
Yeah. So what would be interesting is to see how many people did get A's or distinctions.
Yes, definitely. I mean, I think a lot of it's interesting to see the rise of BTEC with it, because I mean, at university everyone just says, oh, you've all come from your A-level course. It's like, no I haven't.
No,
because A-level, if they're taking it are they taking it from BTEC and A-level, or are they just taking it all around?
I think this is just taken from all around,
right?
I assume.
Right, because obviously BTEC is a lot more practical, whereas A-level's just memory tests, as I say.
It's just all theoretical. It's kind of silly, really. You go into film and then just do theory. Surely you'd want to be making films.
Although I do think there's a 5%. I think there's 5% practical, but that's
whoopee.
I know we did 95% practical, didn't we? So, I mean, it might vary across the country. And maybe in different countries, I don't know how it works in different countries, but across the country it might vary. But I know from Nottinghamshire and stuff like that, it's all just 5% media. But also they've got to do other things with it as well, haven't they? So it is interesting, because a lot of people here, which I say spoken to when they've introduced themselves, a lot of people, which is quite interesting, do media, history, and a language, usually.
It's kind of strange.
Yeah. So it is a bit weird.
Well, do you think that because media has this like easy degree stigma attached to it, people are going to do it just because it's easy and it gets you the same qualification as doing any other course. And that's probably why that media production is one of the most popular courses, just because it's got this easy thing attached to it.
Quite possibly, but I remember very, very well. One of my old friends from school before I came on to because I was already on the level what was it? The level 2 called? What was that?
It was the national.
Was it the national diploma? Oh yes, yeah.
No, it was the first diploma.
Oh yes,
it?
yes.
Yeah.
When I was on the first diploma, I told him that I was going on to the national, and he said his brother did it, and he said he'd quit after 2 weeks because it was so hard. And that's all I'd heard from the people that have done media, that it's really hard. Now that could just be the teaching that we got from John and Michael, because they really pushed us for it, didn't they?
Yeah, or it could just be that this like thing that it's easy is just completely false.
Yeah.
And it's just because like people just view it as like, oh, they just watch TV and films all day and just don't do anything with that. But actually it goes way more in depth than that.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Yeah. So another thing that kind of proves this woman's statement wrong is that according to a website called studentscholarships.org, media and communication workers earn an average of $49,000, which is around £31,000.
Yeah. Makes sense, I think.
And only 5.7% of the media and communication workers are unemployed, which like goes to say like, why is this woman saying that art degrees aren't important when like pretty much everybody is getting employed?
Yeah. And when you think as well, I know they're saying art degrees, but I mean there's a lot of people on the media production course that want to go into business management. They want to go into PR, they want to go into advertising, not so much production. So if it's such a, and that's where it all lies, isn't it? That's where all the jobs are, because, you know, call centres, for example, media production, you can go from media production to a call centre because you've got the qualifications for it.
Yeah, media production covers so much that it's like very difficult not to be able to get a job out of it.
Yes, it's like when people say to me, like, why have I taken photography and design? It's such a vast horizon of stuff.
Yeah.
It's
like with design,
ridiculous.
you can like do like anything. You can do like food packaging, or you could like do like magazine covers. It's like ridiculously broad, like newspapers,
everything visual, really.
Yeah, like billboards, like film posters.
They were
anything.
saying to us today, actually, like you can, if you wanted to, you can like design concepts for cars and stuff like that.
And like buildings.
Yeah,
like anything like that. Yeah, it's ridiculously, and that's just like one aspect of it. That's just design.
Yeah,
and on top of that, there's like painting and like fine art courses, digital media, which is of course like massive.
Yeah,
like everything comes under art degrees.
Yeah. And how do these? So, like, how does her? Here's the thing. How does her company advertise themselves?
Yeah, exactly.
You know.
Yeah.
What do? They just send out smoke signals, which essentially is an art.
Yeah.
It's an art form.
Yeah, I don't know. And then she's having this debate on The Guardian, which is like, of course, known for its like arts sections.
Yeah, and it has its media, the Media Guardian on Tuesday as well.
Yeah. Ridiculous. Well, anyway, I think we're going to move on to the next quote from her now, where she was saying that learning code is essential for employment within the next decade, which I think is like completely ridiculous.
Oh,
I think that code's becoming less relevant, actually.
Yeah, because there's a lot of... I wouldn't say learning code is become. I don't think it should be essential, because there's enough jobs out there which don't need it. But there's a lot of programs which will write the code for you.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I was just going to say. Like programs are being made to make it so that you don't need to code things.
Yeah, well, Dreamweaver you can't you? You don't necessarily need to know code to make a website on Dreamweaver. And it's same with like the online ones like WordPress and.
Weebly and Webs and stuff like that, yeah.
The ones that have been around since like 2004.
Yeah, you can literally just make a website without having any coding knowledge.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. And then there's like, with video games, which are obviously, that industry's growing massively.
Yes.
That's another media industry thing that's growing. But yeah, with video games, you don't even need to code them anymore. There's things like RPG Maker, there's the Unreal UDK engine that you can use, and you don't need to code anything into that.
No, I think it'll stay exactly the same. I mean, the demand is obviously higher. People are wanting more and more like video games and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But I don't think there'll be the new generation coming along, which which there is all the time, obviously, but I don't think it'll change.
No, I don't think it will change at all. Like I've been saying, I think if anything, code's becoming less relevant. Now let's talk about Belinda Palmer herself. So she's the CEO of Lady Geek and the founder of Little Miss Geek, which I've already said.
What are they? I know the businesses, but what do they promote?
Well, the aim of both of them is to end the stereotyping and patronising of women within the technology industry.
Right.
So I assume that what they're trying to do is make a sort of social networking site for women who want to get into the technology industry.
Right, okay.
And recommend them to other companies.
Yeah.
So that they have more of a chance of getting employed.
Mm.
So I think it's quite a good idea, I suppose, because I think women kind of are stereotyped a little bit when it comes to that sort of thing. It's primarily dominated by men, I think.
Well, it's for example, the media industry is absolutely awful with it, isn't it? If you look at, for example, Hollywood, not that we watch many Hollywood films, but how many female directors can you think of?
I can't think of, even in the art film industry, I can't even think of many then. I know Sofia Coppola, she's probably one of the most popular ones.
Yeah, I don't know.
It's one of the only ones that I can actually name.
I don't know, Sofia Coppola. I mean, there's a few floating around in my head, but I can't remember I remember the films, I just don't remember the names of the names. But it's interesting because you usually see them producing or doing some business
Nina
PR.
Park, the producer of Shaun of the Dead and Paul and Hot Fuzz,
or they're doing what do they have? Where it's they have assistants to the actors. They're usually doing something like that, which is.
But you never see them in the limelight.
No,
which is unless they're an actress.
Or TV. TV does seem to have quite a lot.
Yeah, TV does have a lot, doesn't it?
It's same here though, isn't it? A lot of people have gone onto multicam stuff. A lot of females have gone onto multicam. I think there's more females than there is males.
Subconsciously, they might be thinking that they stand more of a chance of getting into that. I don't know.
Maybe. I mean, it is an interesting thing. I mean, we can't really speak for women because we aren't women. Yeah. So, it would be unfair for us to say, oh, yes, this is why.
Something that I just want to point out with the names of these companies, like Lady Geek and Little Miss Geek. Yeah. I know they're trying to end the stereotype into women, but isn't calling them geeks because they're into technology kind of stereotyping as well? It's kind of saying that anybody who's into technology must be a nerd.
Yes, I do know what you mean. It is sort of like that. Yeah, it was the one that we had a lecture the other day on media industries, for example, and not for example, you know what I mean. Yeah. Everybody knows what I mean. We had the lecture, and there was a bit. What was the company? It was Women in Media, wasn't it? It's a charity which has been set up to help women get into the media industry, and I was just it's kind of sickening that we even need it. We shouldn't need it, and it's quite patronising. I feel like it's all women must band together. It's we should just work together instead of it being a sexist, horrible place.
I think the main reason that it is such a sexist, horrible place is because the people that are running the film industry, people like Rupert Murdoch,
they're all old men. Yeah,
old
same with the radio
men.
industry as well.
Yeah,
and maybe not all industries, but it's probably better in some than it is others. Let's put it that way. But I think there is just this gender stereotype. Anyway, it's yeah.
But I think the company that you was talking about that tries to help women get into the media industry, that's pretty much what Little Miss Geek and Lady Geek are trying to do, but just on a smaller scale. It's only the technology side that they're looking at rather than the entirety of the media industry.
Well, I find it quite upsetting that it's still, our generation are still doing. Well, maybe not our generation. They're younger than us. These other people, but it's the other day. One of my friends, who is a female, went to a seminar which was full of males. There was no females at all.
Yeah, I do find that in most of my lectures and my seminars and workshops, it is primarily dominated by males.
Yes, but the worst thing is somebody turned around and said, "Isn't feminism next door?"
Great.
Yeah.
That's just great.
It does make you feel really sick.
So maybe it isn't just the old right-wing men. Maybe it's the young right-wing kids that are that as well.
Yeah, I don't think people realise that they are You know, they do these isms.
Yeah.
We'll say isms to cover all of them.
Yeah, it is a huge problem, especially within the media industry.
Yes, and it's obviously not going to change.
No.
But hopefully...
Hopefully it'll change a little bit. Hopefully there'll be some more than there is now. Going back to the French and German having a 50% drop and a 500% increase for media studies, what do you think, like, so say studying to be a doctor versus studying to be a filmmaker, which would you say is more important?
Well, in theory, logically, a doctor, I suppose. But I don't. It depends on how far into this debate we get. If it's like,
I mean, say it was a doctor that's going to save somebody's life in the future, versus a filmmaker that's going to create like 8 really good films that's going to entertain millions and millions of people.
Yeah. Well,
which is better?
I think morally, like, if I think morally, I'm going to say, obviously anybody's going to say the doctor, because, you know, you need that life. But there's nothing to say that these people can't make films. Like, not, I know this is going to sound like, they could just make films about doctors. But no, I mean, like, films which bring, for example.
But if you're studying to be a doctor, you're not going to know how to make films. And the odds are you're not going to be interested in films.
This is what I'm saying. Like, if you did want to do films, and if you also wanted to help, you know, if it, say for example, if we are going to help, like, doctors and stuff, with all the, like,
money that you get from making the films, you could give it to charity.
There was that. I was going to say that, yeah, but all the bullcrap which is going on at the moment with tabloids, like, saying, the NHS is crap, the nurses don't give a shit, sort of thing. These people, the filmmakers could all like, go out there and document them working their asses off as they do. Now, I did want to do a photography project where it highlighted, you know, the stuff which nurses go through and stuff.
So, like, the positive side of the nurse.
Yeah, I really wanted to show, like, the gritty, you know, like, the stress and stuff like that around it.
Like, how hard they work.
And just to show that, because obviously how the media takes it, well, let's say the media, the tabloids and the other...
certain parts of the media.
How they take it is that, you know, they're not human. You know, they're just the servants that need to be there to serve us, you know, which kind of, you know, they kind of deface the nurses and the doctors, well, the NHS. They deface the NHS, and they just think it's like, you know, the NHS is run by the NHS, and these lovely AIs, you know, it's amazing. Have you ever been into a hospital? It's just AIs everywhere. You know, no emotions. That's what I wanted to highlight. And
something that I've wanted to do for a while, like pretty much since I've been making films. I've wanted to, like, go into, like, an old folks home and record, like, the kind of, like, abuse that goes on, because, like, I've witnessed, like, the kind of abuse that goes on.
Yeah.
Although I haven't witnessed, like, any, like, body hitting anybody. But, like, I know that, like, certain members of the staff working at the old folks home, like, used to steal stuff from people, and it was just insane. Like, how can you do that? Like, how can you go to sleep at night doing that? And I kind of, like, since I've started making films, I wanted to kind of, like, document that. And kind of expose it. And hopefully make it better. Yeah. So, I mean, that's the kind of power that filmmaking can have. So it's like, although it might not save lives, it can affect people if, like, you make a film like that and it actually, like, makes the old folks home better. Yeah.
Well, I've had discussions with people, and I've said, like, there's been people going into, like, social care and stuff, and you think these people don't care about people. They, you know, they will, like, bully the older generations and stuff. It's like, you're going in to care for these people, yet you don't care.
Yeah, it's called care.
Yeah, you need to care if you want to be into caring. So yeah. I mean, we are going a bit off, but...
But yeah, like, although the obvious choice might be to say that a doctor's more important, it isn't necessarily.
No.
Because I think that the power of filmmaking can have such a massive impact that it changes loads of people's lives for the better.
Look at the charity adverts, for example. Like, we all, you know, we're hounded with them. Yeah. We are absolutely hounded with them now, with, like, donkeys and, you know.
The donkey one is a bad one, though. That's...
save the donkeys and, like, all the water aid and stuff like that.
I do seem to be more affected by the animal ones.
I think that's because we're just
We
like
love animals.
we're just
Yeah.
kind of desensitized to it now, aren't we? It's like it's like, I think if, say, the charity adverts, say like the Oxfam adverts or the NSPCC adverts, if they weren't on all the time, because they're like every single break and they're straight after each other. And, I mean, it's not a bad thing because they are raising awareness, and I've got no doubt it works.
And if those adverts didn't exist, I imagine that those charities wouldn't make anywhere near the amount of money that they make because of the adverts.
Yeah, exactly. But, maybe if it was less, then it would be less, it'd be more effective.
Like being a filmmaker and making those adverts, like maybe it is more rewarding than being a doctor, because you might be saving, like, loads more lives being a filmmaker
there is
than
that
a doctor
possibility.
if you're making an advert like that.
Yeah.
Because more people will give money to charity because of your advert. And it will save God knows how many lives.
Yeah, definitely. I fully agree with that.
So I'd say being a filmmaker is just as important as being a doctor.
Yeah, or you can be both if you want to.
Yeah, I suppose so. Although you might not have much time to make films if you're a doctor, depending on how busy you are.
Unless you do nice art films where you just sleep in front of the camera, just like...
I think there's enough of them, to be honest.
Yeah.
It's been done. I don't think we need any more sleeping people.